Long before humans wrote stories or built cities, they lived in a world vast, mysterious, and wild. Every sunrise painted the sky with light. Every storm reminded them of nature's power, and every river, forest, and mountain seemed alive with unseen spirits. Early humans, small in number but vast in curiosity, looked at the world with wonder and fear. They sensed that life was fragile and fleeting, yet filled with invisible forces they could neither explain nor control. And slowly, over countless generations, they began to respond, not just with survival, but with acts of meaning. The first rituals were simple: a carefully placed stone, a small pile of bones, a whispered chant around a fire. Early humans learned that when they acted with intention, the world seemed to answer, not with words, but with a sense of order, calm, or protection. These moments became sacred. They marked transitions in life: the first hunt, the birth of a child, or the passing of a loved one. Movement and sound became tools for connection. Humans discovered that their bodies could express what words could not. Hands raised to the sky, feet pounding the earth, voices chanting in harmony. Around fires, their shadows danced on cave walls, painted in ochre and charcoal, creating the earliest performances, early celebrations of life and survival. Music and rhythm weren't mere entertainment, they were the glue that bound tribes together. A successful hunt, a healed elder, a newborn child, each milestone became an opportunity to gather, to synchronize hearts and minds, to feel unity in the face of uncertainty. Death, too, demanded ceremony. Early humans recognized that loss could break a tribe if left unacknowledged. They began to bury their dead with care, placing leaves, flowers, stones, and personal objects alongside them. Perhaps it was hope that the departed would find peace, or perhaps it was the human desire to honor life and continuity. Around these graves, the living learned patience, reflection, and respect. They whispered prayers, chanted softly, and performed gestures that became the earliest funerary rites. Even in grief, humans found community, and in loss, they discovered ritual. As seasons shifted, rituals evolved to celebrate the cycles of the earth. Harvests, hunts, rains, and fertility became milestones. Families gathered in valleys and clearings, sharing food, dancing, and singing. They celebrated abundance and prepared for scarcity. These gatherings strengthened bonds, ensuring the survival of knowledge, tradition, and community. Children observed and imitated the elders, learning movement, rhythm, and gesture, passing culture from one generation to the next. Every dance, every drumbeat, every story told around the fire carried meaning far beyond the moment. Among the tribe, certain individuals took on the role of guides. Shamans, elders, and spiritual leaders interpreted the world's mysteries. They taught the tribe which herbs could heal, which omens to watch for, and which symbols held power. They carried authority, but also responsibility. Their rituals were complex: gestures, chants, symbolic objects, and sometimes trance-like dances that bridged the human and spirit worlds. Totems, carved stones, and primitive symbols became anchors for shared beliefs. Through these guides, early humans learned that ceremony was not merely repetition, but a map to understanding life, death, and the forces that moved through the natural world. Fire became central, not just as warmth or a tool, but as a sacred medium. The flickering flames illuminated faces, danced on walls, and connected the physical with the spiritual. Around firelight, humans felt courage, awe, and reverence. Sparks rose into the night sky like tiny stars, reminding them of the universe beyond their reach and yet within their imagination. Fire became a center of storytelling, a focal point for rites of passage, and a symbol of survival and hope. In its glow, humans confronted fear and celebrated life with equal intensity. Rituals also strengthened memory. Through chants, songs, and dances, knowledge was preserved. Early humans learned where to hunt, which plants healed, and which dangers to avoid. Myths were born from ritual, tales of great hunts, heroic ancestors, or spirits of the land. Over time, these stories intertwined with ceremony, creating a shared cultural identity that gave every tribe a sense of belonging, purpose, and continuity. Even without writing, humans began to leave a mark on the world, not just through tools or fires, but through the rituals that shaped minds and hearts. The first human ceremonies were not uniform. Each tribe had its own customs, rhythms, and expressions. Yet, across continents, they shared a universal desire to honor, to remember, and to connect. They celebrated life, mourned loss, and acknowledged forces greater than themselves. Through ritual, humans learned patience, empathy, and collective responsibility. They discovered that survival was not just physical, it was social, emotional, and spiritual. As centuries passed, these ceremonies became more complex. Simple gestures became dances, chants became songs, and fires became centers for community and learning. Humans learned that every action could carry meaning, and every shared moment could strengthen bonds. Through ceremony, they faced uncertainty together, celebrated victories together, and grieved losses together. The earliest rituals laid the foundation for culture, morality, religion, and civilization itself. And so, from the first flickering flames and whispered chants, humanity began to understand itself. Early humans learned to honor life, death, and the invisible forces of the world. They discovered that meaning could be created, shared, and preserved. These first ceremonies and rituals were more than tradition. They were the beginning of human identity, the roots of community, and the spark that allowed our species to thrive against the vastness of a wild and unpredictable world. Even today, when we dance, sing, or gather in celebration, we are echoing the steps of our ancestors. The fires they lit, the songs they sang, and the rituals they performed continue to resonate in us. Through ceremony, humans have always sought to connect with each other, with the earth, and with something greater than themselves. And it is through this connection that civilization, culture, and humanity itself were born.